we can measure their acute, interest in being sociable, but we didn't want to measure that. We wanted to know what happens after the fact, while they're not in this acute, cuddle puddle mode, right? And so that's why we waited. We did actually do a time course of it, and it turns out that this ability to open this critical period starts to come on right away and lasts for about 2 weeks with MDMA. And then that critical period reopening effect goes away. And so we thought, okay, it lasts a little bit longer than we thought. And we thought this is probably explains why the clinicians are so focused on that integration period after the acute psychedelic effects have worn off, and how important that support that they give to the patients after the fact really is to integrate their newly discovered, memories.
Yeah. So in the context of, if you try and sort of fit your experimental results in rodents together with the MDMA assisted psychotherapy results for PTSD, the idea is the MDMA is not fixing the PTSD. It's making the brain more malleable, essentially, for a period of time. And that enables therapy that's happening right after the drug is administered, in the days and weeks after it's administered, to be more effective than it otherwise would be.
Well, to be clear, that's what we think now. But at the time that first paper came out, that's not really the emphasis we put at that time, because we thought, oh, it's pro-social, that this is really about the therapeutic alliance with the clinician, or being able to love yourself again. And we really thought it was all about the social. This idea that maybe what MDMA and all psychedelics are doing is that they are reopening critical periods is really the insight of the new paper.
And so,
I'm happy to explain why we think that.
Yeah, what was the route? Why did you go down this route? What made you think that? As we said, MDMA is a great candidate drug for something like being able to influence the social reward learning critical period, just because of how famous the pro-social effects of MDMA are. Made you think it could be possible that something like ibogaine or LSD would potentially have a similar effect?
Right. So, I mean, basically, when we did that experiment, I thought, well, none of the other psychedelics are going to do it, right? Because nobody's doing a 60-person cuddle puddle on LSD or ibogaine, right? Like, they're just not particularly pro-social. So when we did that first experiment with LSD as a control, really, and LSD also reopened it, I thought that was some sort of mistake. We redid it. We did it a few times. We tried the other psychedelics, and all of the psychedelics were reopening this.
So it was, you were using something like LSD as a control. There's, as a brief aside, there's this very famous book in molecular biology called The Eighth Day of Creation. And there's this beautiful anecdote that's sort of very beautifully described in that book. And sort of the punchline is something like, and then the control became the experiment. And you just reminded me of that.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Because we had already done the cocaine experiment, and cocaine doesn't reopen this critical period, which, it is an important control, because there is some
it's psychoactive. It's inducing plasticity, but it doesn't reopen this critical period.
That's right. And it's also, a stimulant drug.